Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today I will talk about research. Okay, I know that some of you are familiar of the word research. So I will discuss the definition of the word research, and I'll tell you what is the flow of the research. What are the contents that you can found in a book, okay, or in a research writing, what you're going to do, and so on. Okay. According to this book in the Research Fundamental for Concept to Output, according to this book, that research is a method of acquiring knowledge based on scientific method of inquiry. So when we talk about inquiry, it is from the word itself, inquire, so which means to ask, no? And to enrich the system of objective knowledge in the field of natural and social sciences. So in other words, research according to Burns and Grove 2007, research is a search of extension or examine again and again carefully. Research is a diligent, systematic inquiry or investigation to validate and refine existing knowledge and generate new knowledge. Okay, so it is a new idea, no? It is a systematic inquiry. So when we talk about systematic, so there is a procedure, there is a process, no? There is a system. Okay, so I'll tell you what are the contents of the research. Okay, since we talk about systematic inquiry, so again, there is an in order, yeah, in order of inquiry, in order of questions or investigations. Okay, so this is research fundamentals, a guide for researchers and thesis writers. No, I forget how much I bought this one. If I'm not mistaken, only 380 something in the Cavalliers, Dumaguete City. Now I'll tell you what are the contents that we can found in the research paper or the research or the actual research. Okay, research or thesis. The research have 3 chapters: chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. I'll tell you what are the contents in chapter 1. But prior to chapter 1, we have a lot of things to input. We have a lot of pages to be included prior to chapter 1. We have the abstract, we have the acknowledgement, the executive summary, the list of tables, and list of figures. But this is in masteral base. So if we try to base on basic research, it's only have acknowledgement, abstract, and table of contents. Okay, let us now begin in chapter 1. In chapter 1, we have the problem and its scope. So this includes your introduction and so on. Then the rationale of the study. What are your reasons? The rationale why you conduct the research. Okay, what is your main purpose of that? Then the statement of the problem. Of course, the rationale of the rationale of your study is to have a certain solution of the problem. Okay, but here the second part is a statement of the problem. What is the problem? Okay, So you're going to put that in the statement of the problem. Then the research hypothesis, the significance of the study, to whom your study can be benefited after your research. Scope and limitation of the study, where, okay, when we talk about scope, your limitation, or for example, only Dumaguete City. Okay, so that is your scope. Only Barangay Candauay, so that is your scope. Okay, then the definition of terms. So in the definition of terms, this is refers to your terms that can be found in your book or in your research. Okay, you cannot get the word from the internet and put in your definition of terms. The word must input in definition of terms must be or in your own word. Okay, what is your interpretation? What is your definition of your word? Now let's have the theoretical framework of the study. What are the theories? Okay, the framework of the study, the theoretical model, the conceptual framework of the study, and then the review of literature and studies. Okay, the review of related literature and the review of related studies. So when you talk about review of related literature, or the RRL and the RRS, refers to ideas, informations that connect to your research. Okay, we have the 5-year rule, so where you will collect various informations that relevant to your research. Did you get me? Okay, so we have the methodology. What is your research design? Okay, is it research respondents? Who are your respondents? When, for example, your research is all about fishermen, how they, for example, if your problem is relevant to behavior of students, so your respondents is or are students. Okay, the respondents refers a person that can give you the solution, can give you an information of your problem. No? Okay. Then research environment. Where did you conduct the research? So for example, the behavior of the students, no, in grade 3 in Barangay Candauay. So the grade 3 in Candauay Elementary School. So your research environment is in a research in Barangay, Candauay Elementary School. And of course your research instruments. What is your research instruments? Is it qualitative or quantitative research? Then data gathering procedure. How did you gather the data? Is it by checklist, online questionnaires like Google Forms and so on? Then statistical treatment of data and ethical considerations. So in basic research, only research instruments. Okay, you only have in the research methodology, you have the research design, research respondents, research environment, research instrument. Okay, in basic research, like such as in bachelor degree. Okay, But if you're going to proceed masteral or masters of arts in physical education and so on, whatever you want to pursue in masters of arts, you have the data gathering procedure, you have the statistical treatment of data, and ethical considerations. What are the ethical considerations? What are those things it's all about? In chapter 2, we have the presentation, the analysis and interpretation of data, the profile of respondents. Okay, how many of your respondents? So this is now the content of chapter 2, huh? You're going to present, okay, presentation, analysis and interpretation of data. You're going to present, analyze and interpret of the data. So the profile of the respondents. So how many of your respondents are male? How many of your respondents are female? How many of your respondents are age 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30, and so on? Okay. The civil status of the number of children. For example, how many of your respondents are married and how many of your respondents are single, widow, and so on. It's depend. It's depend of the research. It's dependent. The nature of research is of your research is all about. Then the religion and residences. I am now basing the masteral research. Okay, it is a thesis actually. This is the actual thesis that defended last when December 2019. Okay. So that is the data. That is the chapter 2, no? The presentation and analysis. The presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. You're going to present. Okay. For example, your research is all about same-sex marriage. So you're going to present the data in chapter 2. You're going to interpret data in table 1. It exhibit the nature or the general comments of the people about same-sex marriage. So the point 1 says that. So it's up to you how you will deliver the information, how you will present the information you've gathered. Okay, that could be found in chapter 2. This is quite long. It's because you're going to begin in the profile of the respondents, their status, their occupation, their age, and so on. Okay, their respective places. That is in chapter 2. In chapter 3, we have the summary of findings. So you're going to put the findings, the conclusions, and recommendations. So in this thesis, okay, the summary of findings and conclusions and recommendations, brief restatement of the problem and research methodology. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to write the restatement of the problem, the brief, okay, the restatement of the problem and the research methodology, the summary of findings. So what is your findings? After you've presented the data, what is your findings? What is your thoughts after the presentation, the analysis of the data you've gathered. What is your findings to that? Based on your own perspective, what could be the result? Okay. Then the recommendations. What is the best recommendations if your research is not effective nor effective to your respondents? So what is your recommendations? So as what I've said, if you will try to go back, for example, if your research is all about same-sex marriage, so what is your recommendations to that? Would you like to recommend to our let's say government to pursue the same-sex marriage in Philippines? It's because probably you found out, no? In the summary of findings or in your conclusion, you'll find out that majority of the people agreed about same-sex marriage and so on. Anyway, it's just only an example, no? I don't have a basis on same-sex marriage and Philippines. It's just only an example. So it's up to you, okay? Then you have the summary of findings. Of course, you're going to input your conclusion and recommendations. Okay, as what I've said. Then it's part of the chapter 3. It is the extension. After the recommendation, you have the bibliography. You're going to input where did you get the information you've gathered, specifically in chapter 1. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm not mistaken, the percentage during the defense, if I'm not mistaken, 50%, 30% in chapter 1, 20% in chapter 2, and 10%, I don't know, if 30% in chapter 1, 10% in chapter 2 and 10% in chapter 3. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, because that was a long time ago. I saw a paper, the scoring system of on how to defend the research. Okay. Then we have the appendices. Appendix A, research instrument. Appendix B, request letter to conduct the study, of course. This is very important. And research Appendix C, the cover letter for respondents. And the last is the curriculum vitae. Okay. So any questions? Okay. So I hope that you've learned a very quick explanation and a brief explanation about what is research and what are the contents that can be found in every chapters of the research. Okay.